Hæ, hva sa du? Ja. Sånn. Du har lyst til Takk skal du ha, Morten. Her. Soverommet. Det der?
Morgen.
God morgen. Takk Trump. Til helvete med hele fyren. Ja, det mener jeg, altså.
Ja, det vet jeg.
Men jeg vet ikke noe riktig, altså jeg har kjøpt litt gull her nede også, men jeg vet ikke noe riktig å kjøpe. Jeg må bare vente litt for å se hvordan markedet tar det. Den meldingen som kom på Nvidia og av AMD også var ganske negativt. Men markedet faller ordentlig på det. Og den her samtalen med Ukraina og den driten her er ikke før på torsdag. Så det er bare støy dette her.
Ja.
Det er jævla skummelt å kjøpe. Altså jeg er så lei Trump. Det er hver faens gang. Det som skjer er at gull stiger jo når markedet skal ned. Det er alltid da han begynner å prate. Han er redd for å få til markedet ned. Oi, da faller Nasdaq. Det var bra. Jeg har short Nasdaq til helvete. Men
Det spørs om vi skal ned og teste 45 igjen.
Ja, vi må bare se på åpning. Du blir jo helt kokt i huet når Trump går ut og sier det at han skal fikse våpenhvile på torsdag. Det er derfor det falt. Mens ikke Zelensky sa jo at han er ikke interessert i å gi bort til haug med land han.
Det har han sagt lenge.
Altså, det blir jo ikke noe fred på torsdag. Jeg bare skjønner at folk går med på det. Jeg fatter ikke. Nei, jeg tror du hører kråka på grunn av du er nede, sa jeg. Der åpner vi nå. Nasdaq bør egentlig falle på AMD og Nvidia. Og gull bør egentlig stige.
Jeg hører ikke noe dollaren ennå, men det blir vel snart.
Ja. Nå kommer Nvidia ned i hvert fall. Det er litt som forventet, synes jeg i hvert fall. Det smikkes alt der av veien her. Hvor ble jeg her nå? Hva skjer? Hvorfor ramler jeg ut hele tiden? Ramler jeg ut her nå også på det? Ramler jeg ut hele tiden? Hva er det som skjer her?
Dette ut.
Alt rører på seg her. Jeg er ikke borte på noen ting. Hvorfor faen? Jeg rører ingenting, og alt rører på seg her.
Har du
Morten, hvis du følger med, vi må koble til begge PC-ene. Det her går jo ikke. Det her er bare tull. Hvis du følger med, Morten, det her funker jo ikke. Jeg kan ikke holde på sånn her når jeg trader live. Det går jo ikke. Det her er bare tull. Der kom Nasdaq litt ned. Og gull kommer opp. Det er det som skal skje. Det er de jævla marketmakerne som driver og surrer til noe jævlig her, vet du. Her er Nasdaq på day low.
Nå har du batteridrevet mus med på strømløs.
Jeg har batteridrevet mus her.
Du har skift batteri til den.
Ja, for alt bare rører på seg her.
Ja, det kan være den.
Kjøper litt mer gull nå, fordi jeg er full av kjærlighet. Nei, det var feil. Kjøper enda litt mer gull. Der kommer Nasdaq ned, ja. Jeg skjønte ikke den der bevegelsen på Nasdaq, så hvorfor den gikk opp. Husker jeg sa det på åpningen her, bare hvorfor faen går Nasdaq opp? AMD og Nvidia liksom, skal gi bort 15% av hele omsetningen sin. Bare tull. Der kommer Nasdaq ned. Og gull, hvorfor faller gull? For det blir fred. Tror det blir fred på fredag? Tror det blir fred på fredag? Tror noen på det? Er det noen som tror på det? Selv gull! Donald Trump skal prate med Zelensky på fredag. Nei, torsdag. Ja vel, han har sagt det i fuckings 110 dager. Det har ikke skjedd en dritt. Helvetes barnehage, ass. Jeg blir så provosert. Selv gull, det blir fred på fredag. Det blir ikke fred på fredag. Det ble ikke noe tariffavtale med Kina heller. Det ble ikke noe tariffavtale med Japan heller. Det ble ikke noe tariffavtale med noen av dem. Men allikevel så har vi gått opp på det, for det ble en avtale som ikke ble noe av. Tullebukker, ass.
Har du avtale med Sveits?
Ja, de avtalene hans, det er sånn der Robert, skal vi ta en dram til neste uke, eller? Så blir det pressmelding. Ja, det blir avtale med Robert på fredag. Nei, vi skal drekke oss drita på fredag. Så blir det ikke noe avtale da. Det er liksom, det er avtalene til Trump. De skal prate sammen. Og så lager de en rammeavtale. Det er jo ikke noe avtale. Rammeavtale er jo ikke noe avtale. Å, fy faen, men euroen fikk jo litt gjennomgå her da. Ja, han henger altså jævla. Og hvem er det som kjøper Nasdaq nå med en PE oppe på 40? Hvem er det som gjør det? Apple har gått opp like mye på 3 dager som gjort på et år. På hva da? Var i møte med Trump og skal investere penger i USA om 4 år etter Trump er ferdig som president. Er folk så dumme i huet? Hva faen feiler det folk da? Selvfølgelig ble det en avtale om 4 år, for da slipper han å gjennomgå den jævla avtalen. Da er Trump ferdig. Derfor er en avtalen laget om 4 år. Må investere 100 milliarder USD eller hva det var for noe, om 4 år. 1 år etter at Trump har gått av. Ja da. Nei, jeg skal ikke klage. Jeg bare blir så, det er så folk er så dumme. Jeg satt og kranglet litt med en amerikaner på en chat der forleden. Han var investor, han skjønte ikke at det er de som betaler tariffen. Og bare, ja, men er det ikke the supplier som betaler? Så er du dum i nøtta, eller? Nei, det er du som betaler fra din lomme. Nei, nei, det blir jo vanskeligere for utlendingene å konkurrere med amerikanerne, så er du helt borte i nøtta, eller? Han er bare investor. Han skjønte jo ikke konseptet på tariff, tydeligvis. Det er faen ikke rart du får rare bevegelser i markedet da, liksom. Mm. Apple er nesten 2%. Ja, bombe. Apple burde falle like mye som har gått opp de siste 3 dagene. Den investeringen deres i infrastruktur i USA, som Trump tror at de skal investere i, mer arbeidsplasser, bullshit. Bullshit! Nvidia er ned 0,85%, 0,9%. Microsoft har gått til rødt. Nei, men sånn er litt ned. Det er det samme aksje som gikk opp egentlig på fredag, så kom litt ned nå. Sikkert bitte litt sånn gevinstsikring eller noe sånt nå. Så kommer det, jeg skal sjekke her. Kom igjen, gull. Hva er det som skjer? Nasdaq, hva faen er det som kjøper Nasdaq? Det er jo helt idiot, det. Skal sjekke. Ja, det er i morgen det kommer. CPI-tallene kommer i morgen. Det viktigste i morgen er den som er year on year, da. Det var på 2,8. Nei, 2,7. Ventet 2,8. Ja, 2,8. Så hvis den stiger i morgen, så stikker gull enda mer opp i et normalt land uten Trump.
When you're competing, you're not thinking about any fear or any worries of what could happen.
Josh Harris can do a good deal with that person. Jay Bat. At the end of the day, there's never been a better time to be a student athlete. And more. Stay tuned.
Ja, euro-dollaren stopper litt opp, da. Men jeg vet ikke hvorfor dollaren styrka seg. Dere fikk med dere Goldman Sachs gikk hardt ut av helga og sa det at de ser for seg en kraftig korreksjon med. Er det noen som fikk det med seg?
Ja.
Også gull på fredag også var jo opp nesten $100 på futurene. Og så skulle Trump komme med noe news på gull, for det var visst noen misforståelser rundt disse tariffene, men jeg har ikke fått med meg noen oppdateringer på det. Kjøper litt mer gull.
Futurene har jo gått fra strong buy på daily og sett oss oppover, mens kortere har strong sell.
Og så har
Kortere timeframes har strong sell.
ja. Du snakker om gull nå, ikke sant? Så jeg snakker om Nasdaq.
Gull futures.
Ja. Jeg kjøper litt mer gull her nå. Vi var faktisk i dag tidlig helt oppe på, eller natt da, før alle artiklene kom, så var vi oppe på 407, tror jeg.
I natt.
Åpnet på 407, eller 404-407. Tesla opp nesten 3%, da 2,87%. Det er helt sykt, de der AI-aksjene, ass. Gull spretter litt opp her. Det er ikke noen grunn til at gull skal falle, uansett om det blir fred eller ikke neste uke. Det blir ikke fred, tror jeg, og fortsatt så er dollaren jævlig svak, og fortsatt skal man trykke mer penger, og fortsatt så kommer den til å sette ned renta. Gull skal opp. At den faller nå på morgenkvisten for at Trump sier at den skal redde verden, som han aldri kommer til å få til, det er helt... Det er så dumt at jeg har ikke ord for det engang. Det er så pillefjernt at det er helt jævlig. Han har hatt møte med Putin 3 ganger i år, han skulle stoppe krigen, og hver gang han har verdens beste samtale, alt er dritbra, det er samme regler hver eneste gang. Og nå har Putin forstått det, og nå har han i hvert fall forstått det, nå har han forstått det, nå har han forstått det, bare piss hver eneste gang, han har ikke kommet en dritt ut av det. Den siste gangen så var det at han skulle lage en svær avtale med edle metaller med Ukraina, og da skulle i hvert fall ikke Russland involvere seg, for da sitter amerikanerne med eierandeler i disse gruvene deres, ikke sant? Hva skjedde for noe? Piss det også. Det er bare piss. Så skal den oransje maiskolben liksom ta med dem på våre Alaska, eller? Nå på torsdag. Hva skal han si for noe da? Fy, Putin? Fy? Hva skal han si for noe da? Som ikke var hørt før? Bare tull. Bare vås. Nå får vi litt styrkelse av euroen her. Nå poppa gull opp her faktisk med $10. Jeg tar ikke gevinst. Jeg bare akkumulerer mer her nede jeg kjøper. Nasdaq bør egentlig falle. Men da må vi bare se på Nvidia. Går Nvidia grønt, så går Nasdaq opp. De 7 største aksjene på Nasdaq er 60% av Nasdaq. Du får ikke Nasdaq ned hvis Nvidia eller noen av de går opp. Skjer ikke. Ny topp på gull fra åpning. Det er jo bra. Nå er jeg på 60 allerede. Han må bryte 62, og så er det 375 som er liksom neste sånn ordentlig... Ja, same shit som siste uke. Hvis gull stikker av nå med $30, så kan dere egentlig lure på hva som skjer i markedet. Det er noen som er under 18 år som handler gull i dag. Det er noen som ikke burde handle i dag.
ser da brillefint ut i timeskjortet.
Det ser dritbra ut. Det er bare, jeg skjønner ikke hvorfor han falt. Hva er det folk driver med, liksom? Du har svak dollar, du har rentekutt som kommer, du har alt, liksom. Og så ramler den på morgenkvisten, fordi folk ikke skjønner en dritt.
Det er fordi at jeg skal få kjøpt den.
Ja, jeg kjøpte ganske mye nå. Her nede, faktisk. Ja. Jeg kjøpte på 55. Det er ikke sånn helt i bånd, men nesten i hvert fall. Men i dag så kommer det ikke så mye nyheter, da. Det er ikke veldig mye maketall eller noe sånt. Altså, det kommer sikkert til å dø litt ut utover dagen. Men jeg vil bare ha Nasdaq ned. Nå gikk Nvidia grønt, faktisk.
Well, you make a good point about the Apollo of it all. Of course, Intel has these deep-pocketed investors who are providing sort of on Intel having a future, but Intel also needs the White House, needs the U.S. government. When you think about various, investments that they've gotten, exactly, $8 billion or so, and actually you had Pat Gelsinger, he came on Remote TV Network when he was still in control, frustrated that he wasn't able to get the money out of that then Biden administration to be able to be building and hitting the quotas that he needs to be able to get the money in return. Now you are going to get basically more and more.
Denne her la jeg til natt. Den burde egentlig gjøre at folk ikke kjøper Nvidia akkurat, for å si det sånn. Kinesiske myndigheter sier dere skal ikke kjøpe Nvidia. Og så har Nvidia gått opp, jeg vet ikke hvor mange prosent, for de skal selge til kineserne. Nå driver Gull og tester 260, 40, 50-ish. Hvis de bryter der, så stikker de videre oppover. Og Nasdaq danser etter Nvidia. Det er så typisk. Dow Jones er ned 111 poeng. Det var ned nesten 400 poeng i forgårs. Og Nasdaq rører ikke på seg på nedsiden. Den er priset faen meg 1,5 ganger mer på indeksen. Det er den som skal falle mest, ikke Dow Jones. Vi vet jo hvorfor den faller minst, på grunn av Mag 7, men det er sånn der helt... Uffa. Her han fortsetter å styrke seg. Fikk lite tilbakefall her nå, men styrker seg videre.
with President Trump at the White House today. Intel shareholders.
Intel skal møte Donald Trump på The White House i dag. Kom melding på det akkurat nå. Intel fikk jo juling i forrige uke fordi Donald Trump sa at han var tilbakestående. Presidenten i USA sa at sjefen i Intel er tilbakestående. Så han, tilbakestående mannen, skal møte Donald Trump i dag på The White House. Kjenner jeg Donald Trump rett, så kommer han til å si at det møtet med han Intel-kameraten var verdens beste møte. Han er så bra kar, så kommer Intel til å gå opp. Sikkert. Så det er møtet etterpå. Det er sånn ny greie i USA. Donald Trump skal snakke med alle de største aksjene. CEO-ene, alle de største selskapene i USA. Kan du lure på hvorfor? Jeg kan fortelle hvorfor. For han har lastet til pipe aksjer. Gull tester 2,6 October nå.
It's like, oh, I guess they must have reported really good earnings, right? This must be a fundamental story. Perhaps not, but it is a supply and demand story. You mentioned ETF flows right there. There is a lot of demand for this asset class.
A lot of demand. We see Ether, the largest Ether ETF, and IBER, the largest Bitcoin ETF, both like BlackRock, really just seeing inflows after inflows. Inflows drive price, so of course those feed into each other. And we also have this news that crypto might be in 401ks. So a lot of people are excited. You have really bullish financial advisors saying you can put as much as 15%. That's a lot. That depends on your requirements, but more conservatively, some say like I think BlackRock has like 1 to 2%. So again, that depends on where you are in the whole risk spectrum. But can you imagine Bitcoin being in your 401k?
Kommer Nasdaq litt ned. Jeg tør ikke si det høyt, for det kommer sikkert en video til å gå opp her. Men gull går videre oppover i hvert fall. Det er $7 i penger på det jeg kjøpte i stad. Man må bryte 62 her for at man skal svinge videre. Der gikk en video rødt. Skulle faen meg bare mangle. Det mener jeg, ass. Skulle faen meg bare mangle.
Necessarily buying Bitcoin as a hedge versus sort of a place to put some alpha. But you do make an interesting point when you said that some financial advisors are saying put up to 15% of your portfolio in crypto. You have to wonder where you're taking that 15% from.
Nå er vi på 62,46 nå på gull. Den går videre oppover. Euroen kom litt ned faktisk. Men gull går rett opp her nå. 62,50 nå. Da er neste stopp igjen tilbake til 75. Hvis han bryter opp her nå. Nå over 66.
With Bitcoin, and there's certainly a lot. Let's check on stocks though. What's going on there though? It's not a lot. The S&P 500 pretty much unchanged at this moment. Same story if you take a look at the NASDAQ 100. The Russell 2000 up a little bit more. It is going to be an interesting week. You think about the fact that we have CPI tomorrow. All eyes on that September Fed meeting and the finite amount of data we get between now. I just wonder how much CPI can derail this rally, because when you had a weak jobs report, we are still in this regime of bad news being good news. We cheer that we're going to get cut, so if CPI comes in hot, does it derail all the all-time highs that we are slowly melting up into? Well, we know we're going to get real-time reaction from the president on social media, so that will for sure certainly be interesting as well. Coming up in the next hour, today we have Shanna Sissel talking about crypto in your 401k. Excited to continue that conversation. We'll also speak to the CEO of Barrick Mining on that possible gold tariff. A lot of question marks there. And we'll discuss the tariff hit on small business
Gull går nå 62,80, går videre oppover. Tesla opp 3,5%.
Some of the world's most desperate people who are getting crypto.
No, I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into. You tell me you have a vision of being $1 billion business, then you're gonna have to do what it takes. And if you're not gonna do that, everybody's gonna suffer. Money can do a lot of good. It really transforms people's lives. But it can also hurt them.
We're at the epicenter of a global realignment on a scale not seen for decades. At the intersection between markets, economics, and geopolitics, a forum for sophisticated conversation. This is Bloomberg Surveillance.
Join me each week on Wall Street Week for stories of capitalism, business, markets, economic, tech, and climate. More than what you need to know, but you need to think about.
This is Bloomberg Intelligence with Paul Sweeney.
The real U.S. corporate high yield. These are two big-time blue chip companies. One person's chaos is another person's animal spirits.
Breaking market headlines and
Our view that the economy is slowing down. There is the possibility of the death spiral.
quantum computing and AI are going to power the future.
People are just buying everything with tech.
Bloomberg Intelligence with Paul Sweeney on Bloomberg Radio, YouTube, and Bloomberg Originals.
Interactive Broker Studio in New York City to our worldwide audience streaming live on Bloomberg.com. Check Bloomberg Live radio. That's Bloomberg. Paul Sweeney interview for the Bloomberg Intelligence Program. In just moments, we're waiting on appearance by President Trump. We'll be making some comments on crime in Washington, D.C. from the White House.
Trump skal prate nå live. Selvfølgelig skal han det.
Kyle Schlick, Chief Market Strategist at Evo. Mike McKee's going to join us. He's the International Economics and Policy Correspondent. About the economic movement, inflation data this week. Holly from Bloomberg Intelligence, litigation analyst, with the latest on all things on the tariff front. So a lot going on over the next couple hours. But right now, let's go to Charlie Powell.
Thank you very much. Welcome back, Paul Sweeney. We're looking at a record right now with the Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ, all of that. S&P 500 index at 63.93. That was a gain this Monday morning of about 1%. This Bloomberg Business Flash is brought to you by IBKR. Will August 2025 be the warmest August on record? An IBKR forecast trader, the yes, which recently hit 36%. Start predicting today at ibkr.com/forecast. Last trading day for this contract is September 11th. The Dow up 20 now. That is a gain of just about 0.1%. We've got NASDAQ up 20, an advance there also of 0.1%. Our MAX 7 index, though, on the minus side, little change, down under 0.1%. 10-year at 4.27%, the 2-year 3.76%. Gold is tumbling 1.2%. While West Texas Intermediate right around 64 a barrel, up today by just about 0.6%. As for the market backdrop, specifically the record-breaking bull run that we have seen, is the party drawing to a close? That question this morning for Callie Cox, Chief Market Strategist at Ritholtz Wealth Management, who is a guest on Bloomberg Surveillance.
We think that we're in the later stages of the bull market, at least, from a bird's eye view when you're looking at the economy. If you have a slowing job market and not a lot of policy support and flexibility, then, chances are there's going to be a lot of pressure on future growth. But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to run for the hills. You just have to be a little more thoughtful.
Callie Cox of Ritholtz interviewed here on interviewed this morning on Bloomberg Surveillance. At this hour, Intel CEO Lip Bhutan set to visit the White House after President Trump called for his removal last week over ties to Chinese businesses. That, according to the Wall Street Journal. Intel shares, they're up by 4.3%. For on-demand news, 24 hours a day, subscribe to Bloomberg News now wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Charlie Pellet. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
All right, Charlie Powell, thank you so much. We appreciate that. As Charlie's just reporting, we had a little bit of green on the screen. Not that what we're doing here, but let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today. I'm Paul Sweeney, Lisa Mateo. I'm joined by Bloomberg's top 10 and Daria. Top 10, what are you looking at today?
Looking at, let's start off with NVIDIA and AMD. Those stocks are on the move after the companies agreed to pay 15% of their revenues from Chinese AI chip sales to the U.S. government for export licenses. We're seeing sort of divergent reactions. NVIDIA lower by about 0.5%, AMD higher by about 0.5%, because this is a really sort of a mixed story when it comes to immediate revenue, right? It's better than an outright ban, which we have seen in April, but it caps sort of the revenue boost because you'll have to give away 15% of it to the U.S. government. The deal raises a lot of eyebrows on Wall Street. Obviously, it's an unusual agreement. It is making a lot of people nervous, and there's still a lot of uncertainty about how China will take it. And let's say that Beijing, which has grown increasingly hostile to the idea of Chinese firms deploying the H20 from NVIDIA, it's unlikely to want the idea of a chip tax. But and when it relates to the revenue, it is a significant portion of their revenue, and China is about 13% of NVIDIA's total sales, while 24% of AMD. So the potential there ranges from somewhere between 3 to 5 billion for AMD or 5 to 7 for NVIDIA, but there's still a lot of uncertainty of how much of that they can actually generate in the near term.
Thank you for breaking that down. That's wondering how much of a percentage is that. So we're going to stick with chips. One of the best performing chip stocks this year, Micron. Your shares are doing better.
Micron Tech, up about 4% right now. This is the maker of a high bandwidth memory, a sort of key component in AI computing used alongside NVIDIA processors. And they came out and raised their fiscal fourth quarter revenue and earnings outlook, citing improved pricing as demand for AI remains robust, but supply is constrained, which allows them to raise pricing. And this comes to relief because Micron disappointed investors back in June with its outlook that fell short of expectations. So this is when they reported earnings. Today, they're kind of coming out with disclosures in regards to a conference that they'll be attending, and they're coming in with this more bullish forecast, which is released for investors, up about 4%. Your ticker is MU.
Next story, the AI story, it's in full force. I don't think it just hasn't lost
the AFD lives on.
Exactly. All right, Tiffany Brands, little blue box.
Tilray brands actually. Well,
Tilray,
we're
I'm sorry.
looking at cannabis stocks, yes, because an important story there for them. Tilray, your ticker is TLRY, up about 23%, and its peer.
Hallo.
Legal at the state level, in some states illegal at the federal level. Very hard to reclassify it to a Schedule 3 drug, which wouldn't make it totally legal, but it would make it subject to less restrictions. So would be a big milestone for cannabis stocks here. If true.
Good stuff. Very good. All right, Dari, Tatiana, thank you so much for that. Tatiana Dari, she covers all the markets for Bloomberg News. And remember, folks, for more conversations like this, subscribe to our new stock movers reports. Listen for 5-minute audio reports on the biggest winners and losers in the stock market. Subscribe to Stock Movers on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere. One of the names that is we're talking about NVIDIA, AMD, these companies, chip companies, having a deal potentially with President Trump to pay 15% on China AI chips. U.S. government. I can't see similar deals before. Let's get the latest on this. Ed Ludlow covers all the technology stuff for Bloomberg. He's out there in London, but he's back home in London right now. Ed, thanks so much for joining us here. Can we break down kind of this deal for NVIDIA and AMD? How did this story come about?
Yeah, I mean, it's an unprecedented arrangement if you consider it simply an export tax.
Trump live nå. Trump live nå. Nå var Nasdaq ned en halv prosent. Nå er Nasdaq i null. For nå skal Trump prate om uteliggere i DC, og da går markedet opp. Ja, det er ikke kødd. Han skal prate om uteliggere. Tackle homelessness. Liksom. Og da gikk Nasdaq opp med 50 fuckings poeng. Bare vente til Trump skal prate. Han skal prate om uteliggere. Så det er jo veldig viktig. Da bør jo Nasdaq gå opp. Jeg har mikrofon.
They made no official announcement. So let's do what we want. And it follows up my second question today. Everybody loves Bill Flood. Anyway.
Trump er litt forsinka. Hæ?
Jeg tror naboen var her.
Ja, var det? Nei, ikke naboen Morten. En annen.
Ok, lignet skikkelig på naboen.
Nei.
Det var overbra.
Det var før jeg kom hjem. Var for seint ute med en halvtime allerede. Nvidia på day high opp 0,23% for å være ned 0,5% i stad. For at Donald Trump skal prate om uteliggere på Washington DC. Det er bra, Prepina. Helt enig, Prepina. Husk en ting. Vi faller hver gang Donald Trump prater. Det er kun da gull faller. Når han holder kjeft, så henter det seg inn igjen. Hver gang han prater, så faller gull. Hver eneste gang han prater. For han skal roe ned markedet, ikke sant?
Wow. I've looked up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom. That's happening. Ballroom. This is really a lot of people must have never seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose. Very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly, like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in DC, and we're going to take our capital back, taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the DC Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. So you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. You don't have that. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes to our southern border. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right. The people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people actually. They actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, you know, when you say, take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad is, we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple. So do you want to look at places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. Is that where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers of crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. He was asked by the city, I guess. We don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago. Was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York is a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the DOJ staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead, with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all know him. Great person. Waiting for his wife. She was walking to the car. The Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day.
Reach future fans. A&R.
Han går til krig mot
Introducing buzzing.
slum og kriminalitet.
The Navy Yard. So this morning, that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock that hell out. Because it's the only language.
Gul skal ikke gå ned på det. Jeg vet ikke.
Law enforcement last night, and they're not going to be fighting back long because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police, as the police are standing up there in uniform, they're standing, and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they get hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, 4 years. I've watched that. Police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any sense of this. And you can see they want to get it. And they're standing there. People are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. It's our public safety crisis.
Nå kan de gjøre hva faen de vil, sier han. Til de som skal til politiet og sånn. Han setter i gang sånn derre Han setter i gang sånn derre Det er bra det han gjør nå, da. Det er bra det han gjør nå. Men Gud skal ikke gå ned på det, da. Han lager basically krig nå.
Bad politicians started, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that said, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd.
Nå ramler han av, takk.
Change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime. Totally
Wall
weak.
Street detter rett ned.
They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute.
Yeah, sure.
Some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have the big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. We're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done, so Todd, if you and Pam can do up things working with the people, we will, I'll get it passed. Get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get it. Think of this. Probably won't get one Democrat because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's what why they want transgender for everybody transgender. And they just got walloped in an election, in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day that a certain gentleman who was a very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. I've seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. It's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind it. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were going to say, we only have 30 policemen or women. They said, we have 3,500. We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army. How can you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the border patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really, I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver it like nobody's ever. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police. And they love police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they run police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We're the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always have. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not gonna happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's gonna be safe again. It's gonna be clean very quickly. We're gonna replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're gonna replace the potholes. We're gonna put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designer said, well, we need a quarter of an inch more turn for safety reasons. We're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency. The District of Columbia, Attorney General Pam Bondi was fantastic. Is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor. Our new DEA administrator is one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. Get rid of you so fast. Terry called. Terry, thanks. Just got the most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? You run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy, because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. You're going to have a lot of, essentially, military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed. By the way, we're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in, it's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. This is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the DC streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. But we're rough and tough. Look at these people. Nothing. They're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's the Interior, but he's in charge of the U.S. Park Police. And I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time. Their families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the U.S. Park Police, this is the oldest federal police force in the nation. They were formed in 1791 by none other than President George Washington. They've got the awesome responsibility of protecting our nation's most sacred monuments. The National Mall, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Statue of Liberty, and out west, the Presidio and the Golden Gate area. These folks have tens of millions of visitors a year, the kind of people that President Trump's talking about that come from around the country and around the world to see our sacred and learn about our history and our sacred monuments. They've been doing a fantastic job, but they are so pleased, the rank and file, that President Trump is now allowing them to enforce the law. As those of you that live in the city may know that the circles and the triangle parks that are spread throughout DC are actually federal park property. So the U.S. Park Police also have responsibility for that. These became littered with homeless camps under the Biden administration. All of you saw that. Since President Trump's executive order on March 27th, making DC safe and beautiful again, the U.S. Park Police have removed over 70 homeless camps. And President Trump also talked about beautification. They're stopping and enforcing the laws against graffiti on our monuments. They've removed over 80 specific attacks against our history with graffiti on our monuments. So they continue to do a great job, whether it's in their vehicles, on foot, or on the mounted police that you see around the National Mall. And President Trump, they thank you. The rank and file is so happy to be enforcing the law, and thank you for your leadership. And they're excited about the announcement you're making today.
Very good. Great job. Thank you very much. Pete, could you say something about the military?
Well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning, we mobilized the DC National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the DC Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the President noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because the troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own. And we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles, we did the same thing, working with the California National Guard, working with ICE officers. ICE officers deserve to do their job and not be attacked. We will work alongside all DC police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city is safe, this city is beautiful, and as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is, we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong, we're right behind you.
I'm going to ask Pam, because she's now, as you heard me say, she's really in charge of a lot of what we're talking about. She's done an incredible job. People are going to start to see the fruits of her labor. And Pam, maybe you could say a few words about what we're talking about.
Let me be crystal clear. Crime in DC is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery. DC should be a place where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on. As the president said, Terry Cole is going to be supervising the Metro Police Department. Gadi Saralta, our U.S. Marshal, is going to be supervising command and control, the entire operation. Our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and I will be working with them closely, along with our great FBI Director, Kash Patel. Kash is going to talk to you in a minute about what we did in Virginia recently with Governor Youngkin. Many of you covered that, and it was tremendously successful. Not only that, our secret weapon here in DC is U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, one of the toughest prosecutors and a former judge, and she is going to be talking about juvenile crime, how it's out of control here, and what she's going to do to fight back. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that. No more drive-by. We're going to do everything we can. And working with the ATF Director Driscoll and Commander of the Army, we're going to all work together. That's what we all do in this room. We work together, we fight. Do not underestimate one person in this room. We're going to make DC beautiful. We're going to make DC safe again. One other thing, just at the war, a few days ago, the area of the war, Terry Cole reached out to me, not even nightfall, on the weekend, where so many families and tourists go. A guy's overdosing from fentanyl on a park bench in the middle of families around. They administered Narcan and saved his life. No more of that. The President of the United States is going to clean up DC, and we're going to be there to help him, and we're going to be successful. Thank you.
Virginia, Northern Virginia, we had a big success.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for your leadership, Deputy Attorney General, and the rest of our interagency partners. Mr. President, the following is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And I just want to highlight that before I get into Northern Virginia. This year alone, under President Trump's administration, we've had over 4,000 child victims identified and found. That's a 33% increase from the same time period last year. 33% increase. We've had a seizure of 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl up to this date. That's a 25% increase since the same time period last year. And just to put it in perspective, 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administration, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership of the Attorney General, of Pam Bondi. Your administration's priority of protecting the homeland and protecting American citizens and protecting our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities. And how do we do it? And what are we going to bring to D.C.? What we did in Northern Virginia, thanks to Terry Cole and Governor Youngkin and the team, we stood up a task force out in my Northern Virginia field office, and we said, let's let good cops be cops, let's get them the intelligence and what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions. And that's exactly what we did. In 1 month, we arrested 545 violent felons, 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. And that simplicity in law enforcement is what's coming to Washington, D.C. When you let good cops be cops, when you give them the work with our Homeland Security Task Force, when you work with Terry and Gadi and I go way back to Miami. These guys are great leaders in the respective departments in law enforcement capacity. And when you have the DOJ and President Trump driving behind this mission, we are going to clean up Washington, D.C., and restored, Washington DC is safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General.
So the process begins right now, actually started over the weekend. We confronted a lot of very bad people, but it's going to be something that will be pretty amazing to you as you watch it. And I think most of you say, "Oh, it's a beautiful thing to do it right." We're going to be removing homeless encampments from all over our parks, our beautiful, beautiful parks, which now a lot of people can't walk on. I mean, very, very dirty, very, got a lot of problems. But we've already started that, moving the encampments away, trying to take care of people. Some of those people, we don't know how they even got there. And some of those people are from different countries, different parts of the world. Nobody knows who they are. They have no idea, but they're there. Getting rid of the people from underpasses, public spaces from all over the city. There are many places that they can go, and we're going to help them as much as you can help. But they'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. The Metropolitan Police Department and the federal authorities will be supported in the effort, a really big effort. The 800 DC National Guardsmen that we'll put on, and much more necessary, much more. It's, remember I said, I went for 10,000 once. Remember I said to a certain person, a person who I thought always was highly overrated, not very competent, but I said, if you need them, we'll give you 10,000 of the military, of the National Guard. They turned me down. But if necessary, we're going to move service members directly to joining the Guardsmen. And that'll take place very rapidly. That'll be done in conjunction with Pam and with Pete and everybody else. Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful cities anywhere in the world. And we're going to make it that. We're going to make it safe. We're going to make it smart. We'll make it beautiful. So beautiful. Some of the buildings, we're going to add to it. You see what we've done at the White House. This White House is a whole different building. I do that in my part-time because it's a natural instinct as a real estate person. I was very good at that. And I was very good at fixing things up. I like fixing things up. You see what's happening. The marble floors are being reinstalled, renovated, fixed. The whole place is becoming very beautiful. We're going to be adding a magnificent ballroom, most beautiful ballroom I think anywhere. We need it. I would have certainly loved to have had it today. We would have filled it up. A lot of you are standing outside, can't get in this room. I've never seen a room like this, which tells me that you want to talk about, this was a DC news conference. It tells me that you want to talk about crime in DC and beautification of DC, but I'm going to put that, that's easy. And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester. She became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into show.
Nå
being able to build
prata han non-stop i 38 minutter. Han må gå og hente noe mat.
She went into showbiz, so a lot of people don't even think of Janine as showbiz. Actually, showbiz was not her thing. And she did great. She was on, along with a couple of other of my friends, on the #1 show. And she did great, but this is what she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to introduce